Hey, Grieflings and Frightlings, it's Margaret here with the Femme Fatalities, and I'm joined with
Erica! Hello, everyone!
Thank you for joining us!
Hello, beautiful booze.
You
So,
have
on silent.
I like that beautiful boobs. The evolution. So, what movie are we talking about? And also, stay tuned, watching the Femme Fatalities, because me and Erica have found ourselves deep in the Ring universe, and so we are going to we have spun off. We're spin off.
We've opened a whole can of worms.
Yes. So we have
Big, huge can of worms.
We have a spin off as we are now deep in the Ring universe. Yes. And so this is part one of we don't know how many because there are
a bunch.
5 books. We thought there was 3. We are too deep. 2 books. We're on the 3rd book. We've watched the 3 American movies, the first 3 Japanese movies.
6 movies.
We have not watched the Korean version yet. We have not watched all.
There's 8 Japanese films.
Yeah.
In total, we've seen 3 of them. There's 2 video games. There's the 5 books. And then there's the 3 American versions of The Ring in movie format. I don't think there was any.
So welcome to The Ring,
part 1 of
many. So you get part 1 on Femme Fatalities, and then I will share the information. Erica will share the information when we continue, and check back often because we are on a journey of book and movie reviews, horror related. And right now our focus is horror books to movies. So once we exit out of the Ring universe, I don't know when that's going to happen. We do have coming up Joe Hill's 20th Century Ghost and Black Phone, House of Usher, Mike Flanagan, limited release series, and the Edgar Allan Poe book. What others?
Ty Barker's Hellbound Heart, which is Hellraiser.
The Exorcist.
I
like to do The Shining and Dr. Sleep. I want to do American Psycho.
Yep.
Let the
right
one in.
Yep.
Maybe The Ritual.
There's a bunch, just like, instead of all the books, just Stephen King, Joe Hill, because that's just like, that's
we'll have
content right there.
Yeah, content. Oh, how can I forget The Watchers? We both just read that book, and we are eagerly awaiting the movie. So we have that coming up.
For that.
And any books to movies or even horror books, we both have quite a few on our to read list that we'll probably sprinkle in these reviews as well. So stay tuned, check back often. So into the Ring trigger warnings. And we're going to try to stick to the first one, but they kind of all...
You can do the first one without much spoilers. We'll try. We've digested a lot of Ring content recently, so sorry if we say something that might be a spoiler for 2 or 3.
Yes.
We'll try to stick to the first book with its first Japanese version movie as well as its American counterpart movie.
Yes, so trigger warning.
Trigger warnings, a woman does get slapped. Trying to think for specifically just the first one.
If you're sensitive
to child violence in the first one. Yeah, because they kind of tell her story.
Yeah, they kind of tell her story. Horse animal violence.
There's no essay.
In the book there is.
It's not in the first one.
Yes, because
the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because they just
Essay,
find a doctor.
essay in the book. In
Yes,
the first
in
one.
the book.
Sorry, I'm trying.
No, that's
I
fine.
should have wrote these all down in little columns. To give you guys a good trigger warning breakdown. My bad.
The book
I will do it for the next one.
has, I'm gonna say, themes of misogyny
Yeah.
in it. I appreciate that the movies went with a female lead in the book. It is a male lead. I also find, I don't know if you agree or disagree, that having a female lead made that character more vulnerable, more relatable. You had more buy-in. I think if it had been the male lead, we would have been more like, okay, well, like, you are the alpha here, and
I went into the book not liking the first, like the main character, Awasaka, because I had watched the movies before I started reading the first book. And I just, real quick, the whole way this happened was we're at Barnes and Noble getting books, and my mom's like, "Oh my god, The Ring! We should totally read this." I didn't even know The Ring was based on a book, you guys. And it was like buy one get one, so we're like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's read this book." And then we're like, "Okay, let's watch the movies." And then it just kept spiraling, which is funny because the second book is called Spiral.
yeah,
And then there's just like every time I got to the end of a book, it would be like the preview for the next book, and then a preview for the next book, and then the next book. And we ended up looking it up online, and there are 8 Japanese films, 3 American, 5 books, 2 video games. It goes deep.
it goes really.
But we're focusing on one today, but I just wanted to tell you that funny story of how we opened this can of worms.
Which was enjoyed. I really like the author's writing style. I think he just has a way of keeping you in the story. Like, he does a great job of like sprinkling these breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh, what's next? Oh, what's next? And as soon as one question is answered, he has already set you up for another question. So you're constantly like, I want more, I want more, I want more. So I think he does a great job, and he's really good. So if you decide to read the books, kind of twisting what you think about the characters in a way that isn't too far-fetched, where you're like, that character would never do that. It's almost like he does it so that you're like, oh, that was a really interesting, almost like you want to know more. Like, you're like, that feels a bit out of context for that character. So then you want to know more of like why they did that or made that decision. So I really appreciate that.
I did not appreciate the American version.
No.
They add in, so in the Japanese version, there's no mention of horses, you guys. His family doesn't own a horse farm. In the American version, they own and breed horses for whatever reason, and there's a really sad part and a horse dies.
Yes.
I don't know about you guys, but I cannot handle that in horror movies. It just, like, it upsets me. It's so bad. And I cry every time. But I'm also, like, the biggest crybaby you'll ever meet, so, like, just warning, you might just want to skip over the part where she's on the boat, because it's dumb that they put that in there for no reason. That made me, that, like, legit upset me about the American version. I was like, I'm still legit angry.
Well, I feel like it, like, I could see where they were trying to go with it, but it just confused the story. It muddied the story. They also veered from our main villainess,
Samara.
Samara's in the American version, and
Sadako is
Sadako.
the Japanese, is the Mara's Japanese.
Yes, any fluent people in Japanese, I really want to apologize if I butcher. Please
probably
let us know if we get these names wrong. We're doing our best, but it's not our intention to butcher them. So if we get them wrong, just make a comment and maybe a link to how we actually pronounce these. I kept listening while I was watching all 3 Japanese versions. Like, how do I say her name again? And I was actually sitting there.
Google Translate.
I was like repeating her name. Little side note, I have dyslexia, and for some reason, words with the letter A get a little bit harder for my brain to, not to make an excuse, because that's still not okay to mispronounce somebody's name. Just know that we are working on it, because I feel really bad
it intentionally.
because I love her. Like, I love her. So I like feel bad. I want to be able to pronounce her name, and as you listen to us, hopefully you'll see where our love for her comes, because in the first book, I actually, oh my gosh, when we got to her backstory a little bit, I was like, oh my god, I could see why you were so pissed. Yes.
Yeah, it makes you feel for her more, you know, and like actually have empathy for this character when you learn her backstory. And Zamara, I feel like, is just mean. Just mean for no reason. I mean, she kind of had a reason, but in the Japanese version, her backstory is way more tragic and just so sad. Whereas you're like, oh my god, I would be pissed too, and I would definitely put my essence on a videotape and kill people also.
Yeah.
If I went through what you went through. Whereas when I watched the American version, I was like, Samara's such an ass. Like, she just is mean. She just likes to be mean for no reason. But she even says that in the first Ring, where Samara is like a little kid and they're asking her like all these weird questions. She's like, I just wanted to hurt people. It won't stop. You're just like, okay, creepy little girl.
Yes.
And I feel like Zamara also plays into more of like, she's more manipulative. In this like, oh my god, help me, I'm stuck down here. And Rachel in the original Ring, I mean, you can't blame her. I would fall for it too.
Mm-hmm.
If some little girl I saw on this tape was like doing that, I'd be like, oh my god, I have to help this girl. But Rachel unintentionally just unleashes her onto the world because it was never Zamara's intention to be freed and rescued. Zamara wanted somebody to let her out so she could continue to wreak havoc. With the only reason.
Yes. And circling back, right there with Samara and the horses. Somehow they try to feed that into her backstory, and you'll have to stay tuned because her backstory comes out more in Ring 2 and Rings. It's the third American one.
Yeah.
It's just she's mean in her backstory. She's got her adopted parents. The mom really wanted to have a baby. The dad just kind of seemed like.
I won't downplay that it probably was like a not great childhood for her.
Yeah.
But compared to her Japanese counterpart, you feel more empathy for her Japanese counterpart. And Sadako, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm so sorry. You feel more empathy for her and understand why she's so angry. Whereas in the American version, like I just said, it just feels like Samara's you're just mean. She's just a nasty little girl.
Would you agree? Like in the Japanese version, there is this videotape, and in the book as well. Like they are letting you know how the videotape came into existence, what the images mean, how to decode them, and it feels like in the Ring, yeah, they are deciphering the code from the videotape, but they're missing. I feel like they missed that huge backstory piece about the paranormal element, right? Sadako's mom is a psychic. Her dad is a doctor who studies psychics. She has a traumatic childhood. She's a psychic. And
but she's like way stronger.
Yeah.
Like her mom is a very powerful psychic. But Sadako can, kill somebody with her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Her mom isn't to that level of power that she is, but she can just kill somebody with her mind. She's very, very strong. And it's in the Japanese version with her backstory a little bit. It's just everything with her parents is really sad because her mom just kind of ends up going crazy.
Yeah.
And dies. She takes her own life. And then I feel like her dad just kind of blamed her for that. Like it was all her fault.
Yeah. Yes. And in the American version with Samara's family, they just kind of allude maybe that Samara's
that she did weird.
Yeah, that she's maybe not all there. There might be some mental illness or something, but they don't go into it. Just that she wasn't all. I don't remember. Like the dad said, like when Rachel finds him,
it's because she drove the horses to drown themselves.
Samara did, but he says a statement in there. She always wanted a baby, and she should have never had a baby. Like, it wasn't meant to be. Like, he says something about basically his wife wanted a child. He didn't think that was like,
it wasn't in the cards.
Like, he already alluded that he didn't think that was a good idea for her, which made me.
I don't think he ever wanted a kid.
So you think he was just like blaming her by?
I think he was happy that she could not have children. I think he would be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, babe. That really sucks. Darn, wish we could have a kid." And then when she found a way to have a baby, he was like,
"Yeah,
darn it." And then it just like it feels like her parents just kind of turn on her, and her mom loves her.
Yeah.
It's really sad. In the Japanese version, you guys, Sadako lives in the well, so we know from the American version of The Ring. In the end, when they freeze Amara, the boyfriend asks Rachel, "God, I wonder how long she was down in that well." And Rachel goes, 7 days. Because that's why the videotape kills you after 7 days. Is because that's how long Zamara lived in the well. The Japanese version, she stayed alive in the well. This isn't the first one, right? I don't know, so it might be a spoiler.
It's in Birthday. It's in the third that we finally figure out.
I'm going to tell you
she stayed alive in the well.
Yeah. No, we figured out how she does, but for like how long she was. That's in the first.
How long?
Yes. She was in the well. You guys, Sadako, the Japanese version of Zamara, for 30 years she was alive down there.
So you're gonna have to.
Isn't that so sad? Yeah. And like, wouldn't you also? That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, girl, I would make a killer videotape too.
Yes.
If I was alive in a well for 30 years. Like, I'm not downplayed like Zamara. Like, that fucking sucks to live in
7 days.
For 7 days even. But I just felt like the Japanese one is so, it's just like, it's way more tragic. And it's so sad. And I think that's also what I liked about it a lot, is because I felt such empathy for her.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm just like, girl, I just want to hug you. Or Samara, I'm just like, why are you so mean? Like,
oh, totally agree. So you have to come back for when we do Rings 3 or the book, not the book, but Rings Birthday. It's the Japanese movie. And then I don't know if the third book will get into it. Back to the original. It's also, her story is so tragic because then we find out that she has genitalia what was it that she
it's
had?
Testicular feminization, thank you.
Yes.
Which means she has both forms of genitalia.
Just balls.
And she's also asexual.
Yeah. So she just has
kind of
in the vagina.
No, I think she has a penis too because she can reproduce by herself.
No.
Or does that just mean you're asexual?
That happens in book 2.
But that just means you're asexual though, right?
Yeah. So in the first...
Okay, that's what I was...
In the first book...
Because she just has that way.
She has... The way I understand the first book, she has balls, but they're not very noticeable, and a vagina. She just can't get pregnant. Like, they really hide
because she doesn't have a womb.
Because she doesn't have a womb. So you're jumping into Spiral to how she... Quick spoiler, you'll have to come back. My bad. Changes that, right?
Right.
Because the first book sets up that she really wanted to have babies.
Yeah. And then my question was, aren't frogs like that too? They're asexual, so they can reproduce by themselves.
But she could reproduce.
Because that's how they make the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Because they use frog DNA, and then, okay. No,
so in the first book, right, she can't reproduce. So you'll have to stay tuned for Spiral and Ring 2, because that's going to get into that a bit more. So
yes.
back to her story.
Backstory.
There's a man with smallpox, a doctor. She's visiting her dad at
like a smallpox hospital.
Yeah.
That were super popular all over, everywhere for a while.
Yes.
40s, 50s.
So this doctor's like the last smallpox victim in Japan. And something the movies didn't do, side note, that the book is really focusing on is how does a virus reproduce? What makes a virus, and uses people in the videotape to explore this concept of smallpox and AIDS and viruses. And I think that's important to know because it is a subtle theme in the movies. So, anyways, this doctor, he blames her psychic powers. I think we both have some thoughts here about this. He's overcome with lust for her.
It's her fault.
Yeah, so he
She
rapes
should
her.
have been psychic.
Yes. He rapes her, she bites him, he freaks out
She
because
has
of his,
been good, you guys. Like, he got...
Yeah. Because of the smallpox. He blames his smallpox. He blames her being
I had smallpox. She was psychic. Like, what else was I gonna do? It's like,
One of the main male characters is like, well, of course she didn't want to die a virgin. That's why she used her psychic powers to get this doctor to rape her. Like, these just things that I thought I did not agree with. Yeah, it was a little like very much male perspective. I feel like if you watch movies and read books, that you can sometimes you can tell the difference, the gender difference there. This is one where he's like, okay, this is like a man trying to justify that he had sex with a woman, and yeah, maybe she didn't want to die a virgin, but as a woman, I'm not really, I don't want to be a virgin, so I think I'd rather be raped and have that trauma. It's that
And then after he's done sexually assaulting her, he throws her in the well.
Yeah.
And that's how she dies.
And he throws
In the book.
Yeah.
This
He
is
throws rocks on her.
The movie is
Her dad.
her parents kill her.
Yeah.
And Zamara, it's her mom. Sadako, it's her dad.
Her dad.
Yeah, because he blamed her for her mom. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just making sure I got all of my...
So you see where it like differs in each of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then she lived down there for 30 years.
Yeah. So you could understand why she's coming with vengeance. I do appreciate too in the book, and I wish one of the movies would have explored this a bit more. Like, she basically is the virus, right? And how is she like reproducing? How is she having babies? I think at the end of the book, it's kind of, I was like, oh, she can't have babies, but she could be a virus and she could have victims, which are like babies. Oh, and she gets her revenge at the same.
Yeah.
That's how I took the end of the first book.
I took it as she's getting babies in the form of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, each virus is her baby, not necessarily the person and the infects, but the virus itself means more to her than the person she's infecting. I liked in the book the comedic relief, so it would basically be the counterpart for Rachel's boyfriend, and then the same in the Japanese version. The story's the same. The female lead, their counterpart, and then they both have kids together too. In the book, the main character, who's a man, does have a child, but his counterpart is also a male, and he's like the comic relief. I thought it was really funny in all the movies when like the main character like was down in the well trying to find Zamara's bones to give her a proper burial, so that maybe she wouldn't be angry and they would be free of the curse. In the two movies, both of the ports are like, oh my god, like it's time, like, are you dead down there? Are you okay? Answer me. Oh my god, just like freaking out, just like wants to know if that person is safe and alive. And in the book, the guy is just like, hey, are you dead down there, you stupid idiot? You better not haunt me if you're dead. Like, I don't know why, but I loved that in the book. I thought it was hilarious. Also because I feel like that's something that I would do. That was like, I think that just resonated with me as like a person. I felt like I would be the person to be like, hey, you better not haunt me if you're dead down there. So I really liked that. I think between the three forms of content of the same story, the book has a right. Yeah. The American movie is my least favorite, honestly.
Yeah, because again, if we circle back, the American movie just missed some pieces by adding in the horses, by just shifting the story in a way that it didn't quite make sense. I will give the American version credit, though. We've discussed this, right? So Rachel, and in the Japanese movie, they figure out the way that you beat the virus is you have to make a copy and give it to somebody and they have to watch it. Rachel seems to be the only one that figures out to save her son. He has to make the copy.
Yeah, her son physically has to do it. Like, even in the end scene, you see her, like, with his hand and, like, her fingers kind of behind his, pressing in the play and record buttons and, like, making sure that he's the one touching the stuff and that it's his copy.
Yeah, because I feel like in the Japanese version, nobody, not in the book, not in the movie, did they catch that, oh, the reason I survived is because I made a copy and I gave it to you. And so if you want to survive, you are going to have to make a copy. I can't make the copy for you and give it to somebody. But I also wonder if in the book, it's so much more like they are just so engrossed in what is this and what's going on. And they are like in life when we they're just in the weeds. They are just in the weeds. And it feels like Rachel's able to get out of the weeds and say, okay, this is what's going on. Where everybody else is just.
I like in the book, the videotape at the very end, it's like, to not die in 7 days, you have to perform this charm. To perform this charm, you have to, and then somebody recorded over the charm. If anybody remembers recording, whether it was VHS tapes or even like cassette tapes, it was so infuriating when you recorded something and somebody used your tape as like a blank tape to record something else and recording over what you had.
Yes.
You're like in the middle of watching something and somebody's like ballet recital comes on. You're like, oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Who used my tape?
Yes.
That's not a problem we have now. It was back in the day.
Yes.
Also, fun fact for me, when we watched The Ring, it was actually my first time watching The Ring.
Really? Oh, yeah.
You never let me watch it.
Yeah. All the other movies I let you watch, but The Ring was...
I was like, I thought I saw this movie, but then when I was thinking about it, I was like, I guess I just never watched it. Even after I grew up, I just still never
Because what
watched it.
got me when I first watched it...
You were so scared. I was scared.
So if you remember my bedroom, I think there was like a big old box TV, and then there was like another TV on top of that TV for a while in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when I first watched it, I watched on the TV on top of the TV. And it was at night. And so she's like crawling out of the TV screen, and it just unnerved me so much. It just fucked with me. And so I was like, that is it. I don't think I slept for like a couple of days, like for a whole week. I was like, she's gonna fucking crawl out of my TV. She's gonna get me.
Yeah.
And so, and also another like interesting fact is like that was new at that time in horror movies. So we can become used to, or we're just like, okay, yeah, this is normal in horror movies. That was like groundbreaking for horror movies, that effect of her coming out of the TV. And that's, I'm guessing, another reason I hadn't seen that. I hadn't experienced that. I also, my love for horror has definitely developed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always loved horror, but my appreciation and my delving more into just it as a genre has definitely expanded then from when we were a kid and it was just basically what's popular, or slasher movies, or basically like every October, oh, it's going to be spooky month, let's watch scary movies. Now, oh my gosh, for like the last few years, I used to do spooky. I love October, and then a few years ago, I was like, I miss watching spooky Sundays. So now it was spooky Sundays, and then that has just become basically, if I'm going to watch something on my own, I'm watching a horror film.
I like really bad horror films. Those are usually my Sunday. Or really bad ones.
Oh, you're gonna have to check out Funhouse Massacre and let me know what you think. I just watched that recently, and it was actually, I liked it better. The new Doka Sisters, part of the Night of the Living Dead, they did still did it. But now, see, we digress. So, The Ring, I really enjoy The Ring. It is.
I have super enjoyed this can of worms. It has been a can of worms and overwhelming at some points, but I have really liked it. The book, like I said, is top for me. I like that the best out of all of it. The Japanese movie is really good. The American movie, it's good, but it's my least favorite out of all the three.
Watch it if you're watch it if you're a Ring fan. Watch it if
just the horse thing, man.
Yeah.
I can't with that. I'm sorry to bring it back up, but I just couldn't.
If you
why is it there?
Yeah,
It's
well, I was kind of wondering if it was like it's an omen, it's a warning. Oh my gosh, things aren't safe, things aren't good.
I think they just did it to prove that
the horse
she was off because how animals can sense, if you're off, animals know that. So I think that's why they put it in to really drive home that something was wrong with her because look at what she did to all these horses.
Well, they were keeping her up at night. Like she justifies that I can't sleep. So yeah, I just drove them off the cliff that drove my mother.
I lived on a farm with horses around and all kinds of stuff for a long time. I would never make them run out to sea because they kept me up at night, and they were loud sometimes.
Sometimes they're not.
They're not like super loud.
They're not like making noises all night.
No, and we were like what 20, 30 feet away from the horse stables.
But we were the stables.
We were close.
Back. And then there was
she was legit like in the barn though, so like the smell I get might also keep you up. But
well, then I wonder why did he put her in the barn? Like, what does she do for? Because I almost like he put her. Like, did he put her in the barn after Mom died? Did she end up in the barn before Mom died?
I think before.
Yeah, because the horses were still alive, but we don't know why he put her in the. Because she was
just didn't like her.
She was already mean. Oh, because she didn't sleep.
Yeah. Because she's a crazy little girl.
So what was she doing to them? I wonder. Oh, I'm blaming her here. She couldn't sleep. Like, she admits she cannot sleep. It's impossible for her. So she has some sort of disorder. So why he thought putting her in the barn would help her sleep, or why he was afraid of her.
Yeah, just like sleep with earplugs in or something, or like take them all the time. Or like, I don't know, be a parent and figure out why your kid can't sleep.
Well, that's why they have her with the doctor.
It's like, now put her in the barn.
They have her with the doctor. So I wonder, did the barn come after she had those experiments, like trying to figure out like why? And experiments is probably the wrong word. They took her to a hospital where she was studied to figure out why she couldn't sleep. Like, they don't make sense for you in a way that was it that dad was abusive?
Like some horses just threw in a whole nother monkey wrench that they have been trying to ride around. I thought it was unnecessary and stupid.
Yeah, because it didn't.
I'm just upset about the horse.
Yeah,
the horse died. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then it freaked me out because I thought it was going to happen in the book or the Japanese film, and it doesn't.
No,
just
there's no horses. I don't think there's any.
So you're fine. No, there's not.
No.
So you're fine in those versions. Now I'm curious if, because we were just talking about The Grudge, if the thing with the cat in the American version of The Grudge, if that really happens in the Japanese versions.
Yeah, I don't
know. I'm curious about that.
We're going to have to watch the Japanese version. I usually like to watch Japanese before American, or let me rephrase that, the movie that came first. I like to watch the one that was created first. We just didn't have time this time, and both of us, we work, and sometimes I just don't have the brain power to read subtitles and pay attention to the context of the movie. I also take notes during movies.
I always read my movies. My subtitles are on 24 hours.
I do, but you're still hearing our native language, so then you're consuming it.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
I don't know. I think I'm trying to just focus on one.
You're focusing on all of it, whereas if the subtitles and the people are talking, it's hearing two different conversations at once.
It's like my ADHD brain. I think it's and it's
right, it's two different things at once. You hear somebody saying something, but you're hearing another person say something else. Like having two people talking to you at once, with having to read the subtitles and listen to somebody speaking Japanese.
It's more of watching. So I'm really I'm watching and I'm wanting to consume what's visually in front of me.
Gotcha.
And so when they're talking, I can get that through my ears. But then when I'm reading the subtitles and trying to watch the scene, my brain is pulled He doesn't know where for me to put focus.
Gotcha.
And so then I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between what did they just say? What just happened on the screen?
Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get that.
So anything else you'd like to add about The Ring?
I would highly recommend the books.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. It's like I said about sometimes it's can worms. So
And I feel like I personally really like this author, and I'm excited once we are out of the Ring universe of his to read some of his other works. He also wrote Dark Water, which I believe is a Japanese and an American film. So I'm really curious to read that and see those adaptations because I really do enjoy his writing, which feels really good when you get excited about a writer. So then you're like, oh, I want to read your next book. Oh, I want to read your next book. And that he's consistent, because I don't know about you, but have you ever found like you read a book by an author and you loved the book and you loved the writing, and so you go and you get like another book by them and you're just like, this doesn't have the same thing that I loved in the other book that I just read.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So he is consistent. I don't know if we can say that once we read Dark Waters, because we haven't, or if it's just because we're already so in the story. We're so invested with these characters.
I'm super invested. I love it all. So thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
For the Ring book. Thumbs up for the Japanese version of the Ring. I give it like a thumb up-ish.
I give it like a not ups or a down. I give it a side.
Mine's not like a full side. Mine's like right here for the American version. And you already know what I'm going to say just because, of course.
Yeah.
That's the
storytelling and
because Samar's just mean. She's just not nice.
Yeah. Agreed.
To be fair, like we said, tragic shit did happen to her, but I feel like she was just mean before that too.
Yeah. I feel
like she's just a bit mean.
I won't get into that because when we get into her backstory. Yeah. I feel like she's just mean.
So stay tuned. They've already said 8 Japanese films, 5 books. We are currently reading the 3rd book in the Ring universe. So more will come on that. We'll still have the Ring 2, the book, the Japanese film, and the American film. Rings, or the 3rd one, the book, the Japanese film, and the American film. And then from there, it's just going to be solely the books and then the Japanese movies after that. Just because there are no more American counterparts for past the 3rd American film. Which I'm surprised that they never did more, because I feel like Samara is super popular.
She's
really everybody really likes her. Because she's creepy, because she's a mean little creepy girl.
She's a different kind of killer. If you think about her, get on a little soapbox here. We have a very male-dominated genre here, where serial killers are male, most of the killers are male, and here we got a sweet, innocent little girl who's not so sweet, is not so innocent, so she's like a breath of fresh air.
Girl from Orphan.
Yeah.
Terrible. So, I don't know, maybe Samara was just more popular than that.
I'm gonna go with killer.
And there's also the little girl from, oh my god, Case 39.
You can go with
that little girl is in a lot. She's also in Silent Hill. Ooh. You know which little girl I'm talking about? I don't know her name, but she's in a lot of scary movies. She's in an episode of Supernatural. She's a really good, creepy little girl. Love her. Shout out.
Ooh, I might have to go for badass young killer. I'm gonna have to go for Becky. From Becky and Wrath of Becky. Even though now she's quite a grown woman and she's not a creepy little girl. But she wasn't a creepy little girl. But I like her as my killer. Even though, Samara is a badass. I'm gonna have to rewatch Orphan. She's a creepy little girl, completely different premise. So.
Sorry, I'm trying to think what a little girl. So, I think
They're
she's
dead.
like
They're dead.
The little girl? No, she's not.
Yeah, they're dead.
No, she doesn't. Her mom gets stuck in Silent Hill.
But there's
Okay,
two
Silent
dead
Hill is a whole other thing. We're not talking about Silent Hill, right?
Yeah. because they drive home and they show the husband, and it shows her and the little girl laying on the couch, but he can't see them. So I think
No, because she gets out and is living with the dad, and they're living like jumping from town to town because Jon Snow is from Silent Hill and he has to come try to lure her back. And it's that same little girl. But she's grown. She's like a
because they have
teenager.
Silent Hill too.
That is the second one. So I'm saying the little girl didn't die in the first one.
Then he must have found her, because in the first one it ends with her and the mom driving back to the house, and the dad's like grieving. Sean, what's his face?
The mom
Jon
gets stuck.
Snow's dad.
Yeah, the little girl gets out because the parents get her out.
Sean Bean.
And she goes back to Silent Hill for whatever reason or gets stuck there. And then the dad, I think in the end of the second one or the first one, goes to Silent Hill to get his wife.
So
I don't remember which one that
I
is.
recently watched Silent
Okay,
Hill.
we're getting off the rails.
Yes. Okay. So go watch.
Go watch The Ring. Go get the book.
Let us know what you think, and catch you next time. Thanks for listening and watching.
Bye. So what do you